What happens when a retired wrestler turned bounty hunter takes on Virginia Comic-Con with a stopwatch? Brutus Kane. The Iron Wolf accepts the wildest challenge yet, the 60-second cosplay gauntlet. 1 minute, full walkthrough, 0 breaks in character. He storms past Jedi, dodges, Deadpools, tosses out dry one-liners like, "That's not a lightsaber. This is a lightsaber." Fans cheer, cameras roll. He's a machine until he locks eyes with a nervous kid in cardboard armor. Brutus stops. Time's still ticking. The Iron Wolf kneels and says, "You look ready for battle." The kid beams. Stopwatch hits 60. Challenge failed. But the moment? Legendary. Catch Brutus and the Madness set 6th at Virginia Comic-Con, Richmond Raceway, 11 a.m. sharp. Don't miss the cosplay contest or the heart beneath the armor.
Gather round the fire, friends, and let the shadows draw close. This isn't a story for the faint of heart, so if you're prone to nightmares, you might want to plug your ears. But if you're brave enough, listen well, because this tale is whispered only in the deepest folds of the woods, where the stars barely pierce the canopy, and the wind carries secrets older than the trees. This is the story of the Midnight Whistler, and it begins in a place not far from here, a place called Blackthorn Hollow. Blackthorn Hollow was a forgotten speck of a town, nestled in a valley where the pines grew so dense they seemed to choke out the sun. The folks there were hardy, the kind who didn't scare easy, but even they avoided the old logging trail that wound up into the hills. It was a path marked by gnarled roots and moss-slick stones, and at its end stood a crumbling cabin, abandoned since the days when the railroad was still a dream. The locals called it the Whistler's Den, and they swore that anyone who lingered there past sundown would hear it. A low, mournful whistle that slithered through the trees, calling you deeper into the dark. The story starts with 4 friends, Lila, Marcus, Ethan, and Sarah, who thought they knew better than the old tales. They were city kids, college freshmen looking for a thrill during fall break. They'd heard the rumors about Blackthorn Hollow from a gas station clerk with a lazy eye and a voice like gravel. "Don't go poking around that trail," he'd warned, spitting tobacco into a cracked coffee mug. "The Whistler don't take kindly to trespassers." But the friends laughed it off. They wanted adventure, a story to tell when they got back to campus. So, with a backpack full of beer, a tent, and a cheap flashlight, they set out for the hollow. The trail was as eerie as the clerk had promised. The air grew colder with every step, and the trees seemed to lean in, their branches clawing at the sky. By the time they reached the cabin, the sun was sinking fast, painting the world in shades of bruise purple. The cabin itself was a husk, rotted planks, a caved-in roof, and windows like empty eye sockets. Ethan, the boldest of the group, kicked the door open, sending a cloud of dust swirling into the twilight. "This is it?" he scoffed. "This place is about as scary as my grandma's attic." But Lila wasn't so sure. She felt it first, a prickling at the back of her neck, like someone was watching from the trees. She kept glancing over her shoulder, but there was nothing, just the endless stretch of forest swallowing the last of the light. They set up camp a few yards from the cabin, building a fire that sputtered in the damp air. Marcus cracked open a beer and started telling ghost stories, but his voice faltered when a distant owl hooted, sharp and sudden. Sarah shivered, pulling her jacket tighter. "Maybe we should head back," she said. "This place feels wrong." "Don't be a baby," Ethan teased, tossing a stick into the fire. But even he fell silent when the first whistle came. It was faint at first, so soft they thought it was the wind. A low, lilting tune, like someone blowing across the mouth of a bottle. It drifted from the direction of the cabin, curling through the air like smoke. Lila froze, her marshmallow falling into the flames. "Did you hear that?" she whispered. "It's just the wind," Marcus said, but his voice was tight. The whistle came again, clearer now, a melody that seemed to shift and twist, never settling on a single note. It wasn't a song you'd hum. It was too strange, too uneven, like it was being played by someone who didn't know how to stop. Ethan grabbed the flashlight and pointed it toward the cabin. The beam caught the edge of a broken window, but beyond it, there was only darkness. "Let's check it out," he said, standing up. Sarah grabbed his arm, her eyes wide. "Are you crazy? You heard what the clerk said." "It's probably some hobo messing with us," Ethan replied, shaking her off. Against their better judgment, the others followed, drawn by the same key.